everybody to another Take 5 video. This is Mark Mannering from Class Training, and in this session we're going to be covering some major aspects of how to create and manage online PDF forms with Acrobat PDF Writer. So for your surveys, leave application forms, sales forms and so on, you can implement some of these features for your examples. Now the major aspects of how we work with this is, first of all, we create the form. We're going to be looking at what's meant by distributing the form to our users. The completed forms get returned and back to us, and then we collect the data and do our normal analysis on that information. Now firstly, in creating the form, we can use an existing Word template or Excel form or PDF form as well. We then add fields such as text fields, drop downs, check boxes and so on. And we can also implement some user-friendly features such as field auto-population, and I'll show you some of that in the example a little bit later. When we distribute the form, that just means we set up the form so users only need Acrobat Reader version 9 or later to fill in the form. We can add some workflow processes to that, so that's the next stage that's involved, and that just means how the form comes back to us with the completed data. And we also send the form off to our contacts, so we either typically email the form to them or they can download the form from our website. Now for the process of those completed forms to come back to us, users just complete the form with Acrobat Reader version 9 as I said, or later. The completed forms get back to us via email as an attachment. That's one method. Others can be implemented, but we'll just look at that example. And the data is saved in the form automatically, so the users don't have to save the form using Reader, it's just done automatically. In the last step there, we receive the completed forms. We can also extract the data from that forms automatically, and that data can then be typically imported into a database such as Access, Excel and so on, so we can carry out some normal analysis on that information. So what we have here is our original Word document, and we've used Word just to create our static text, our static skeleton or template for the form that's going to be created. And we've used Word to add the content, the logo there for example, and the formatting, and we've got our field labels down the left hand side there. These are just the static labels that the users will see, and we've left spaces there obviously to add those fields in later when this gets converted to a PDF file. Scrolling down, we've got others there. We've got other spaces being left there for our text fields, our drop downs, our check boxes as well. And at the bottom of the page here, we've got some space in the bottom right corner there ready to put our buttons that we will need for people to click to email the form back to us, or to print the document, or to save the document, whatever we want to try and implement as far as the features are concerned. So obviously it requires a bit of planning to outline what you want to have in your form, and as I said, it's always best to use Word or Excel or something that's that you're familiar with to create the actual skeleton. Acrobat Writer, as you might know, is not a full-blown word processor, so it's best to use other dedicated applications to create the starting point or source for your PDF form. Okay, so we have Acrobat Pro started here. This is version 10, but it's very similar with version 9 and later. And all we do to start off with is to click here, create a PDF form. We get the choice of saying, do we want to use an existing document or to scan a paper form? But we're just going to leave it here. We're going to use our existing Word template I just showed you earlier, and we'll click Next. Import a file. We browse to where that Word document is, and there it is there, Information Request Form. Just double click that and click Next. And PDF Writer is converting that Word document automatically into a static PDF file. Okay, so there's our PDF file now. It's just a static PDF document, and Acrobat has just informed us that it hasn't found any form fields that were already in there from the Word document. So you could try adding some Word form fields that some of you might know how to do, but in a lot of cases Acrobat won't pick those up. So you're best off just adding all of the form definition, the fields and so on in Acrobat Writer. I'll just click OK to that. And there's our content from before, just as a static PDF. We've got the spaces there for the fields to be added and so on towards the bottom there. I'll just scroll back up to the top. Okay, so let's add our first form field to this form, and that'll just be a simple text field so people can fill in their company and ABN and so on. And we've got the tools mainly across the top here. We've got the text field tool there. We've got checkboxes, radio buttons and so on. And I'll just click the text field tool here. We bring the mouse down, and you can see the crosshairs there allowing us to line things up. And I can either just click to place a defined size text box there, or I can click and drag to draw the text field the size that I want across to there, for example, and that'll do. As soon as I let go, the properties box opens up, or the first part of the properties box, and now I can enter the field name that I want, and 9 times out of 10 the field name will be the same as the field label to the left there. That's just the field name. I can click all properties here to go in behind the scenes to see what else I can implement into this form field. So the text field properties box opens up. It's got the field name in there. The tooltip is what pops up when people just point to the field. So a bit of help can be entered here. We can just type in, please enter your company name here. That will do. And other things we can implement too. We can go to the appearance and we can change the color of the field box and so on. So border color, I might just make this a grey outline, and we can implement other colors and font sizes and so on. Options and actions and so on across the other field tabs here, and we can use those a little bit later if we decide to. Back to general, and we'll just close that. Okay, so even with just this first field added to our form, we can preview the form as it will look when it's being used. So click on preview at the top here, and there's our grey box there. Even if I just point without clicking inside that field, you can see the little tooltip coming up. So that's not a bad idea to give them a bit of help in how to use this form. We just go back to editing mode for the form by going to edit here. Now Acrobat Pro provides a lot of shortcuts for creating multiple fields and things that are, or fields that are similar to others that have already been added there. It's not just a matter of copying and pasting that existing field I've got there already. There's a lot of shortcuts in Acrobat Pro, and we'll implement those features to add more things or more fields to this particular form. Okay, so I've just implemented a lot of those shortcuts that are very useful to add the other fields there. You can see I've renamed or added those extra field names down the right hand side there in the list. And I haven't just copied and pasted, I've used those very important, useful shortcuts to add the rest of the fields and also to line them up and space them evenly from top to bottom. So a lot of shortcuts, as I said, we cover in our training courses and webinars. Okay people, so here's our completed form. We've just, in the blink of an eye, we've created one from earlier for you, and we've got all our completed fields here. We've converted the town text field box into a drop down, and we'll use that in a minute. We've got some check boxes here in the middle. We've got our multi-line text field here so that they can add in some comments or questions and so on. We've got radio buttons, not just because it says radio here, but that's a common term. These radio buttons are option buttons, and there's our other function buttons at the bottom there as well. We've just changed the labels, or some of the labels. So if I scroll to the top here and have a look at some other things we've implemented. Now, part of this auto population feature is in this example here with the town. So as we all know, the state and postcode for a particular town is always the same. So if we choose from the drop down a particular town, we'll just go to Brisbane, for example, click that, and you can see it automatically populates the state and postcode for that town. Click there and we'll choose something else, and so on. Now this requires some coding in behind the scenes, some JavaScript coding behind the scenes. It's not an automatic feature that we can implement from Acrobat, but we just need some coding to go in behind the form, and again we cover that in our training courses and webinars. Another example of some coding we can implement is in the email address here, for example. So if your user just clicks in there and types in whatever, it's not in the correct format for a particular email address. If they just press enter or tab or even click in another field, it pops up with an error message saying please enter a proper email address and so on in the form of that. They click OK and it just disappears for them to start again. Now, very importantly, this is still our working document. This is still our edited version of the particular form that we want to send out eventually. So we can't send this off. We need to distribute this or process it so it can be read by Acrobat Reader. And in fact, if I try and even test this particular working document by clicking email form here, it pops up automatically with an error message basically saying that this is just the working document. It can't be used or sent off as a particular form. So we'll just click OK and we'll go through the process for how we convert that for use by our users. So we do our basic testing and make sure everything's fine, apart from being able to send it back automatically to the administrator. So before we process this so it can be read by a reader, we'll just click the Clear All Data button here. So we've got a nice clean form to work with, and that gets rid of all that information. And we'll just scroll back to the top here. Now to distribute this so it can be read by and filled in by Acrobat Reader, we first of all need to go to Tools, top right hand corner here, and we click on Distribute. Distribute, it says, just reminds us to save the working document, so we'll just say save, and okay, we'll just save that. Now it comes up with a default option of manually collecting the responses from the form in my email box. And there are other options that we can choose, but this is the most common, the easiest to implement, and also to collect the data. So that's what we want. We're going to click on Next. And we don't want to send it now. We're going to save a local copy of the completed or distributed version of this form, and we'll put that there in a particular folder there, and we'll just click Next. Okay, we want to collect name and email from all the recipients. That's okay, and we click Finish. You can see bottom right hand corner there, it's creating what they call the response file, which is a special PDF file, and the process finishes and comes up with all that information. So let's just come back out of that. Okay, now what I'm showing you here are the 3 files that are created with a particular form. So the first one there that I've been working on, just information request form, that's my working copy. That's the edited version that I've been working on, and that's the form I don't send off to my users. The next one up there has been created by Acrobat in that distribution or processing step, and it's got the same name except it's got distributed underneath there right at the end of the file name, and that's the one we send off. So the distributed version is the one we send for them to fill in with Acrobat Reader. We can rename that so it doesn't have that distributed word there, and that's the one that they will fill in. And the responses file, the responses version, is a special PDF that Acrobat creates to hold all the data that comes back from all of those forms that are out there now via email that you've sent or downloaded from your website. And that responses data contains all that data that's been completed. And the distributed form here, we're going to open this up to test it and actually send it off. So what will happen here is that your users will fill in this particular form that you've sent to them or they've downloaded from your website, and they'll click the button at the bottom that says email the form, and the completed form will come to you as an email attachment into your inbox. Okay, so let's just fill in the data here just quickly. I'll just put in today's date, just today as the date, and so on with the rest of the form. Okay, so there's all the data miraculously entered in. I'm quick, aren't I? And if we scroll down, we can see the other things have been filled in, and away we go with sending the form off. So what the user will do is typically click email form here. Now notice first of all, they don't have to save the data. Even if they don't save this file or data, it will be saved automatically and sent on as an attachment back to you. So we click email form there. It comes up with the default information to send the form back with the to email address there. That's been set up. That's the email address of the administrator, that's me, and the subject and so on. And then the from details. Now obviously I'm just testing this and sending it back to myself, so those details are the same. But the from details will be there, or the user's particular email address and full name. So the user will just click send. It comes up with an option, what type of email program do you want to use, your desktop applications such as Outlook and so on, or internet email. But we'll click desktop application and click OK. Now the form's been sent off, and the user gets a confirmation message saying that it's been sent off to the administrator, and the data is sent, and they don't need to do anything else, basically. And we just click OK. Okay, so here are all the emails that have come in. These are the completed forms that have come in from my users. Now obviously my email address is all the way down there because I'm just testing, and I've sent myself back a lot of test completed forms to see how it all works. And with that first one there, all I've got to do is click on the email. We go to the attachment here, information request form. We double click that to have a look at it. And what happens now is we get an automatic response or prompt to say that the data being extracted out of this form will be added to that responses file. Just move this out of the way. You can see that's the data I filled in previously, and we'll just put that back and click OK. That data is now added or extracted first of all, and then added to this responses file. We'll just get rid of the welcome message here, and there it is there. The system columns are there, but there's the rest of it. There's the fields that I've added in into that form, and it's been added to the responses file as one record. So let's come out of that. We can say yes, we'll save the data. And so then we go to the next one. The next one, we come back. There's the second email. We double click that. We get the same sort of prompt. We click OK. The data is going to be extracted and added to that same responses file. And we get rid of the title page or welcome. And there's the second one being added underneath the first one. So this data gets progressively added because it's the same form. It gets progressively added to the same responses file. Okay, so now we have all of that data from those forms that have come in progressively being added to this one responses file. You can see all the records there, you can see the completed data, and it's listed or displayed here almost like a spreadsheet in this special PDF file that Acrobat's created for us. Now, to do any sort of analysis and bring that into Excel or some other database, all I need to do without even selecting any particular record there, I'm just going to go export here and then click on export all. And we can put any particular name here, my data for example. It's going to export it as a CSV file. We just click save. And you can see top right hand corner here, 12 responses successfully exported. Now in my Excel file or application, I just click open here and go to that data. There it is there, double click. And there's all my information. We fix up the columns. And there's all the same data brought into Excel, and from here obviously I can do my analysis and reporting, and away I go. Okay, so there you have it. We've completed the whole process. We've gone from creating the form from scratch. We've sent the form off to our users. They've completed the forms. It's come back to us automatically, and we can add the information into that responses file, export it to our Excel spreadsheet, and do our analysis from there. So it's all been done for us by Acrobat Writer. Now we obviously cover a lot more on this, plus the details of how you can do all of this for your own examples in our training courses and webinars. So just have a look for those and see what might be relevant for you and suitable, and ask any questions that you might have. This is Mark Mannering signing off until next time. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.